Every generation has that movie. A movie that has to be seen, a blockbuster that blows people away and that everyone talks about. A movie that, in its own way, becomes a part of history. Even though the release of D.W. Griffith's The Birth of a Nation in 1915 was not the first time that audiences got together in a movie theater, it was the first time that they saw such an epic masterpiece. With a complex story and innovative visuals spanning over 3 hours, this movie has become known as a central building block of long-form film itself. The film's first act features a cynical and unglamorous depiction of the Civil War from the perspectives of a northern family and a southern family, but the second act of the film, which focuses on Reconstruction, is the real source of controversy. In Piedmont, South Carolina, newly freed slaves are shown celebrating instead of doing their jobs, living off government handouts, and joining all-black militias to intimidate peaceful citizens for no real reason. Reconstruction is wholly painted as a disaster. The black vote is equated with white disenfranchisement, and a radical Republican congressman named Austin Stoneman is thrilled. After black men are elected to the House of Representatives, they're shown taking their shoes off, throwing things, and eating fried chicken before ruling that all white people must salute black soldiers on the street and legalizing interracial marriage as they cheer at the idea of marrying a white woman. The movie especially perpetuates the stereotype of black men being rapacious towards white women through characters like Gus and Lynch, even though the historical precedent was for higher levels of sexual violence committed by white men against black women. Not only that, but contrary to the film's depiction of powerful black men physically intimidating white citizens, the actual precedent for racial violence as a whole during Reconstruction was white people attacking black people. Black Americans actively took up the opportunities and responsibilities of citizenship, and while it is true that 700 black men were elected into public office during Reconstruction and 1,300 held government jobs, their civic duties were never mutually exclusive to those of white Americans, and scenes like the one in House of Representatives are lifted straight out of racist cartoons, not the actions of the real men and women who held those positions. His films copied what he heard. He copied the Klansmen, he copied racist cartoons of the era because he thought that he was presenting the simple facts of history. He took false ideas at face value and chose stories because of their potential to thrill audiences.
In the films you've seen or heard of, such as The Birth of a Nation or Gone with the Wind, how do you feel history has portrayed the black woman?
Black women are represented as underrated and unappreciated.
Really the underdog. And with most older films, of course, black women were always portrayed as the maid, the nanny. We are still viewed that way, even though we have our education.
In your opinion, how has the black man been represented?
As thugs, idiots, you see a black man, you just automatically assume danger or they would harm you.
The original KKK was dissolved in the 1870s until it was revived by William Joseph Simmons in Atlanta, Georgia, just months after the release of Birth of a Nation, and historians agree that the movie played no small part in that. In fact, the first time that the Klan ever burned a cross was in the movie. The real-life Klanders adopted it because they liked Griffith's imagery, and they went on to even use the film for Klan recruitment for decades. However, when the Klan was reborn, its agenda reflected current anti-immigrant, anti-Catholic, prohibitionist, and anti-Semitic fears, in addition to the white supremacist agenda that it held in the 1800s.
Do you still feel the effects of the KKK and racial tensions in today's society?
The influence of police brutality in our modern society compared to the days of the KKK are apparent when you look at the case of Ahmaud Arbery. People of color are still being treated with unjust intentions.
I was a young girl. The KKK marched down a street in my hometown. And that was very kind of eye-opening for me.
I don't feel racial tension if it's in a mixed crowd, but if I'm the only black person, I feel tension and awkwardness, as if all eyes are on me.
We almost have to be submissive to come into the program with our head down so we won't be that complaining black person or that angry black woman or that, any of these stereotypes that people have put in their heads about us.
Productions such as The Birth of a Nation continue to weaponize the Walter Fisher's narrative paradigm to further perpetuate racism and division.